Thank you. I'd like to introduce to you Philip Austin, and Philip is the president of CHEP Australia and New Zealand. And as some of you will know, CHEP is one of our biggest blue chip businesses that operates internationally and is responsible for pallets. So constantly moving, constantly making things happen both here and overseas. And there's probably not one of you who has not seen a CHEP pallet somewhere, sometime, somehow, when you've been travelling around. Philip has been on our board, and CHEP has been a partner with Enactust from the days back when it was SIFE. And Philip has spent a lot of time, a lot of energy, a lot of effort in making sure that we offer the very best that we can offer to our students in terms of not only the program itself, but most importantly, the business advisory boards. Okay, so Philip has been a champion of Enactust and very much a champion of the business advisory boards. He's been working with a small group of us who are very keen to make sure that we have the best possible boards with the best possible relationships. And much of that role is yours as a team member, but certainly there's a lot of input from the Business Advisory Board. And so today what Philip's going to do is facilitate a discussion with you, particularly from his own experience of what could and should make a Business Advisory Board particularly effective, but then also give you the opportunity to ask the sorts of questions that will be important for you in terms of getting the best possible outcome and relationships that you can. So let me hand over to Philip and we can start our discussion.
Thanks, Judy. All right, just let me get this right. All right, seamless. All right, I'm conscious that we've got a limited amount of time, and equally I can talk for quite some time about my business and about Enactust and about things that matter to me, and this is very much something that matters to me. So I may well speak quickly, and what we're going to try and do, I think, is take some questions at the end. So we'll aim to achieve that. Firstly, what I want to do is say thank you. Thanks for taking some time out of week 1, week 12 schedules to be here. Conscious you've got lots of things you could choose to do with your time, and you've chosen to be here. Equally, thank you for choosing, for choosing to work with Enactust, because I'm really excited about the way that that organisation helps enable what you want to do in terms of making a difference in the world. More critically, thank you for the fact that in amongst all the things you could be doing, that you actually seek to go and make a difference somewhere, that through the sort of work that you're doing through Enactust, that you're actually out there wanting to make a difference, make life better for somebody else other than yourself. And that's actually why I get involved with this and why I'm happy to do it, because seeing young people, I used to be one, have that sort of passion and that energy in an age when most people are focused on themselves, to me is just why you want to get involved, why businesses want to get involved with Enactust. So I'll start with a thank you. Today there's sort of 4 things that I want to cover off for you. First, I want to briefly tell you a little bit about CHEP, because I think it's important that you understand why a business, and a business like ours, wants to connect through advisory boards and wants to connect with Enactust. So I just need to give you a little bit of context, because if you've seen a pallet, you've seen a pallet, and let's face it, it's not that sexy a business, but it's actually quite remarkable, and that's, again, one of the reasons why we choose to work with Enactust, because we want to give our people those great opportunities. But I want to tell you a little bit about my business. Our business. Then I want to tell you about 4 things, and then at the end get to the best bit, which is your questions and the answers. So why have a business advisory board? It's a really good question to answer, because otherwise it seems to be a lot of effort for potentially not much reward. What does good look like in a business advisory board when it's working with a team? The almost perennial question, well, who might be good to have on a business advisory board? And critically, the sort of question, well, what's in it for them? You know, why would they want to be on one, and why would you want them to be on one? They're fairly fundamental questions. And that's pretty much all I want to try and cover off today. Do so through some illustrations, also a little bit through some challenge, and we'll see where we get to by the end of that. The best bit will be at the end when we have the conversation. So look, a little bit about our business and in terms of CHEP. First a little bit about me. So I happen to be the president of CHEP Australia and New Zealand. I've had that job for 3 or 4 years. I don't run the company. My job is to lead my team. My team run the company. or they actually help the people who do run the company, which is sort of all 1,300 of us across Australia and New Zealand. We have 26 sites in Australia. We turn over almost $500 million a year. We have 12,000 customers across Australia every single month. And yes, it's a pallet and a crate. But actually, it's sort of one of the things I really like our business is it matters what we do. Next week, Woolworths is empty if we don't do our job. And if Woolworths is empty, every single Australian has a problem. Not only is Woolworths is empty, Coles is empty, Metcash is empty. When Aldi get here next year, they'd be empty as well if we didn't open up. And so the fact that our job actually matters and the fact that our company makes something quite essential happen is really quite important to us and important to understand the nature of our business. We have every sort of job inside CHEP. We have production line people, we have engineers, we have plastics engineers, we have robotics people, we have sales, we have marketing, we have admin clerks, we have finance. We're a full-scale employer. As a partner of Enactus, every single one of those people is available to you. Every single one of those skills and abilities, and when you look at the corporate partners that Enactus has, they're full of companies that have rich depth of roles and skills and abilities. Brambles owns CHEP. Brambles is one of Australia's 20th largest companies. Brambles is also one of only 4 companies that's gone globally, sustainably around the world. So News Corp out of Adelaide, BHP, Westfield and Brambles. So there's something actually really smart in what we do. We're in 53 countries. We employ 17,000 people around the world. We make every retail supply chain in the world work. I think our market cap's about $15 billion. So this is a wildly successful company. Okay, it's been running for 58 years with a single product. And this is the sort of company that wants to get involved with Enactus because we share the vision that they have around entrepreneurial spirit. We share the vision around making better communities and making something more than a dollar. And I know that looks really cynical when you see lots of businessmen in suits and you read ICAC inquiries or businesswomen or whatever it is. You can become very cynical about why businesses get involved. Okay, what you tend to find is, look, we're a business-to-business kind of entity. That's why you probably don't know a lot about us. You know, we're not a name brand. We're not Google or Woolworths or those sort of things. When, you know, most of those brands are business to consumer. One of the biggest things that you find as you get more and more involved in business, and why I want business advisory boards to work, is that business is just human to human. It's all it is. It's your interaction with one other person. It's the connection that you can make. It's tapping into exactly what you're doing out in your social communities. It's touching one other person and then recognising that that's going to have a difference somewhere else. So the real opportunity that you have to connect with business, look, it might be because you need some resource. It might be because there's somebody in that business that you want to get to know because it might get you a job post-uni. That's fine. They're all really valid reasons to get involved and connect with your business advisory boards and the people who are involved in them. But fundamentally, if you take away the suit or you take away anything else, they're people a lot like you. Just because I run a business doesn't mean that I don't actually want to make a difference for another human being. And one of the ways to do that is to support fantastic people like you and fantastic people like the ones that you work with to get a multiplier effect in terms of making a difference. So you can judge people by the suit just as easily as I could walk past you and judge you by whatever you happen to be wearing that day. Understand that probably 98% of all business people who you are going to approach to be on your business advisory boards are in the human-to-human business and they just want to make a difference as well. So there might be some fear involved in setting up business advisory boards or some fear in engaging. I want to give you a couple of quick tips later on how to actually not overcome that fear. It's still true. But how best to connect with somebody because they're in the human business, okay, just like you, and that's what they want to do. So ultimately, look, one of the reasons also that we focus on this, and I'm going to do that, is because no matter how wonderful our business is, it's a pallet, it's a crate, it's a computer system, it's 26 sites, one here at Gilman, Edinburgh Park, Paraka Markets. Anybody can replicate those. You can build a pallet, you can build a crate, you can write code. The only reason that my business is successful is the people that are involved in it. And so what's key for my business is who I hire, how I develop them, how I help them work to the best of their potential, and how I get them to work with each other. That's it. That's the only thing that makes a difference in making a business sustainable and successful. And I want to argue to you that a big part of the success of your team and a big part of the success of your engagement with your business advisory board is to just recognise that that's all you're trying to do. And I actually think that that's why these are such powerful skills that you learn, sometimes unconsciously, by being involved with Enactus. In the very process of trying to organise your team, in the very process of trying to build a business advisory board and get it to work well, all you're doing is working out who to hire, how to get them to work to the best of their potential, how to get any barriers or obstacles out of the way and connect them with other right people, and how to get them to work well together. That's all my job is. That's all that makes my company different, okay? Because you can knock up another pallet tomorrow and you can build another crate tomorrow, or you can write another piece of software tomorrow. So this whole sense that what you're doing at Enactus, why we're interested, and the very factors to sort of what you're learning or what the same approach that needs to be taken to your team or to a business advisory board is no different than what you're going to need to do when you're running a business. When you're a manager in a business, it's what you're learning right now. And so that's that kind of unique opportunity to recognise that in trying and struggling to make this happen, which, trust me, is what every business person is doing, we don't get it right. I struggle every day with, have I hired the right people? Have I got them in the right jobs? Are they working well together? It's not like it's perfect when you're on the business side of it rather than on the volunteer or the Enactus side of it. This is what you can gain out of working in Enactus and in your own business advisory boards. So, that's probably enough of a segue, I guess. I really think there are three things that business advisory boards can be for your teams. One is that they can be a catalyst for improving your outcomes. I love the fact that you're out there trying to achieve something spectacular or something good. One of the key roles, I think, for a business advisory board is to be a catalyst to see if that good can be even better. Okay? The second reason I think that there's a good reason to have a business advisory board, or what they can be, is they can be an accelerator to get you there faster, and they can be an incubator to really make your ideas become clearer, more effective, more powerful, faster to market, and really, I guess, accelerate your own and your team's development. And I think the third reason is that they are a unique development experience for you, but also from the people for the companies who take part. So to me, I think that's what a business advisory board can be. It can be a catalyst for something much bigger than you set out to achieve. It can be an incubator and an accelerator, and it can just be a great experience. So now how do we get to that point? Because if that's what they can be, I know that's not always what they are. So how do we get there? And I think that's how we answer these four questions. The first one is, why have a BXB, a business advisory board? And look, first thing is, Enactus does try and give you some help on this. So I'm going to read you the charter, which says, why have a business advisory board? And I need these. I still listen to Triple J, but I have to be honest, Double J is looking like a good alternative. So, an advisory board is if utilised to its maximum potential, is a tremendous asset to an Enactus team. Board members can keep Enactus students informed of current business and community concerns and trends, provide financial, always nice, or in-kind ideas and assistance for projects, critique annual reports and presentations, and provide networking opportunities. Okay, that sounds good, but what does it mean? How do we sort of unpack that, I guess? And I think the key thing here is you've got to realise businesses have boards. It's not like this is something that just Enactus does because, oh, that'd be a good idea and makes you work harder, it makes you do some other things. Okay, we have an amazing group of people that run Brambles globally. Okay, they've taken the business, tripled it in the last 10 years. They have a board above them. Okay, when we go into new markets, we're in China. We went there 6 or 7 years ago. We're in India sort of 4 or 5 years ago. Where even there is no legal requirement to set up a board, we set up an advisory board. Okay, because there's a big difference between managing a company and the role of a board. Okay. And it's essential that when in Enactus, you are the managers. You are leading the team, you're running it, you're operating, you're executing. And you've got to stop and think, well, why do these companies, they pay enough money to these people, why do they need a board above them? And I think this comes to the very, very first point about why have a business advisory board. It's critically because it's not management. These people are not running the business. They're not executing the work. They're not getting into the gritty bits. They don't do that execution work. But what you're looking for is a group of people whose depth and breadth of experience or specific skills can actually objectively, and this is the big difference, they're not in the day-to-day, just like you and your Enactus teams are in the day-to-day trying to make it work. An advisory board, just like for companies, a board that sits over the top, that's able to objectively say to you, how are you going? No, really, tell me how you're going. What do you need? Why are you working on this? in my experience, I've seen that doing this works better. And so you look at we're a supply chain ugly industrial company. We've got the ex-head of DHL, the ex-head of Nestle as a customer. We've got a banker, we've got a lawyer, we've got a Reserve Bank board member. We've got a few different ones now. There's a few others that come in and out. We go for diversity in our board. We go for diversity of experience, of gender, of sexuality, of skills and abilities. None of them are there to be the specialist marketer or the specialist lawyer. They're there to just bring that depth of oversight, that objectivity, to be able to enable management to pause and reflect and go, are we doing the right thing? Are we doing it the right way? Are we on track? Is there something better? So the easiest way to think about what a business advisory board could be for you is just to recognise and look at exactly that difference between management and boards in the rest of the world. It's about advice. It's about oversight. The best way that I use it is the way I try and describe to my team even how to use my role. They are a resource there for you to use. Okay? And they can be the most valuable and wonderful resource. The worst thing you can do is get a group of really, really talented and resourceful people together and then not use them. But equally, if you know it all and you're able to do it all perfectly, then you don't need a board. Okay? And sometimes you can do that, and good luck to you, go hard. That's often not the case. And the opportunity to learn to take counsel from a slightly objective, outside the running of the business or the running of the Enactust team, that's the opportunity. So the real reason for me that you would want a business advisory board in essence is because it gives you the opportunity to improve the outcomes you're looking for. Again, I'm going to say this, I see you when you're I see you at conventions and championships. And I don't say this because I'm inside of you. You are, because I'm standing in front of you, you are remarkable people. You inspire people like us. The energy, the vision, the creativity, the entrepreneurship, the ability to connect with others, to get out and do beyond what you do, to mobilise teams with limited resources to achieve spectacular outcomes. Every single business person that's sitting in that room judging you is actually sitting there in awe of you and thinking, what did I do when I was at university? Because it wasn't what you're doing, okay? And they're all wanting to find a way to help, okay? Now, that's why you want to connect and why you want to get involved with an advisory board, because you have really good goals, you have really good objectives, and you're achieving great outcomes. The opportunity the Business Advisory Board offers you is to do even more than you currently think is possible. So you're aiming for good, could you aim for great? And could these people help you get to great? Okay? Now, I think I'd put that in three things. I did write a structure, but as you can see, I like to go off it. So the role of a business advisory board, why have one? For me, it's one reason, so that you can do even more than you think you can do today. And in saying that, I do not want to diminish what you're aiming for, because I genuinely and I believe that we sit there and we're inspired by what you're aiming for. But there is a chance that you could do more if you used a business advisory board. How? By, at times, expanding, clarifying, maybe even challenging your vision, your goal and your purpose. And I have to present to the board at times, and trust me, they do that very well for me with my business. And at times I've walked out with more money, more resources, and almost a bit scared at what they've given me, because it's twice as big as I went in asking for, as opposed to being told no. And it's like, geez, now we've really chewed off more than we can. So there's a role there for them to help expand, clarify, challenge your vision. There's absolutely a role for them, if requested, because remember, they're not management, they're a board, they're not you, they're not doing your job. So if you request them, they can absolutely help you by reviewing, improving, challenging your executables, your actions, your plans. And then critically, I think there's a third thing where they are a resource pool. Okay? If you just want them to be a resource pool, I think you're limiting what a business advisory board can be for you. But they're a resource pool for you to sound out your ideas, test what you're thinking, but equally to go and get money, people, contacts, skills. So I think there's three roles. Challenge and expand your vision. If requested, get into the detail and help polish what you're doing. And then thirdly, they are that network and that resource pool for you. That's why I'd want a business advisory board, because I think then you're actually able to optimise what you're trying to do. What that really means is that for you and your teams, or for any Enactust team, you have to have a very clear purpose for what you want your board to do. Okay? You can't just say, come and sit on my board, because somewhere there's a compliance obligation because Enactust said if you haven't got one, you don't get a ticket to whatever it is, okay? If you treat it that way, that's what it will be. What do you and your team want your board to achieve for you in the scope of what you're trying to do this time around? Once you've got that purpose, I'm going to argue that's the foundation stone for a very effective business advisory board. Because each board will be different, each project will be different, and what you need or want will be different. Okay, but if you can define it, critically if you can write it down, if you can write it down in one paragraph, 3 bullet points is always good. I used to write 5 and 10 pages, and I had a great boss about 15 years ago who said to me, if you can't say it in one page, you don't understand it, son. And I was young enough to be son back then. And you've just got to clarify it and get it down. Like if you can get in one paragraph what you want your board to achieve, they have every hope of achieving it for you, and you have every hope of knowing how to work with them. Because don't do anything with them other than what you want them to do. As an aside, I'm just going to, conscious of time here, if you can do that, you're learning some wonderful skills for when you get to work. Clarity of purpose, clarity of role, managing people and influencing others. You can't tell a board member what to do, but geez, you can influence them. I'm the boss of 1,300 people. I struggle and I don't want to tell one of them what to do because that's their job. They're independent people. Particularly my team are leading teams of hundreds of others. I manage by influence, by seeding ideas, by suggesting, by joining them up with other people and watching some alchemy happen. Okay, the skills that you're learning in sort of shaping a board and shaping your own teams, as an employer, this is why I want to employ you, because I'm sure you've got the degree. I absolutely love the fact that you're already engaged out in the community. But if you've been able to show that you can influence and shape and manage through others rather than just doing yourself, you will have a wonderful career anywhere, let alone in my organisation. So as an aside, you want to do it because it's good for your greater outcome. You want to do it because it's good for your team. I'd suggest there's also a benefit for you in learning some of these skills as you go through. So for me, summing up, why would you want a business advisory board? They can help you achieve your outcomes and possibly do more. Okay? They're that catalyst, they're that incubator, they are that resource pool for you, and critically they will help you expand and clarify, they'll help you get some work done, and they'll connect you with some other resources. That's a good reason to have one. Now I think the order I was meant to do then is what does good look like? And then get to, well, who should be on a business advisory board? But I want to flip those because I actually think the next way to address this is to say, well, who should be on a business advisory board? What does good look like? Okay? Because if you've got a sense of what you want it to achieve, it will work well if you just know what you want to do and if you put the right people on it. Okay? So I'm going to go there, I think, next. So you have to answer that question as to who might be good. Now, again, the charter will tell you, go to your Enactust alumni, go to local businesses, and then go to partner organisations like mine and go looking. And again, I think that's very helpful. But to some extent, I think that still doesn't really help me overcome the fear or how do I ask or who should I ask. And look, I think I'm going to give you again another observation. I'm starting to very much sound like the wise old man or the wise old uncle here. But whenever you get a group of people together, like your teams, whenever I get a group of people together at work, no matter who they might be, everybody rushes to solutions. Right, we're going to do it this way, we're going to do it that way, whoever's got the loudest voice or whoever, and it's done and we all move on because somebody had a plan and we go and get it done. Before you go and work out who should be on your business advisory board, I'd gather you could get your team together, you'd want to knock it over as fast as you can, and we'd say we want a lawyer, an accountant, one of these, and be done. Could I say that the role of the leader, particularly in these teams, is to stop that and to actually say we need to ask the right questions here because you will only get the right people if you ask the right high-value questions. And again, quite frankly, it's no different than any manager, any leader faces in their job. Getting the right people in the right jobs at the right time, working together. So when you stop to think about who you want on your business advisory board, that will first determine kind of where you go looking. And what you would need to know is you don't need a committee. You want a board. You want a resource to be used. That's the key. So there's a couple of ways that you can approach that. One is, I guess, a functional or skills-based approach, which is, okay, so for the project that we're working on, we need some legal advice and that's expensive. We need somebody connected with a logistics organisation because we're going to try and get some stuff overseas. We need an overseas NGO who's familiar with that particular, you can do it just on a What are we trying to do? Where are our biggest barriers? So I take a sort of functional or skills-based approach. And that still requires a fair degree of high-gain questioning. Why do we need that resource? Why do we need it now? And critically, do they have to be on the board? Come back to what's the purpose of your board. If you just want them as a resource, don't ask them to be on your board. Find a way to get to them and help. Or get a board member who knows 4 of the skills that you want and get them to go and get all 4 for you. So keep asking the high-gain questions. What do we need? What skills or abilities or functions? And then critically come back to the purpose of board. Do I need that on the board or do I just need it? And change your approach that way. You know, you might need a marketer. Again, I flippantly wrote down here, we need someone on here who's going to help me get a job at the end of this. Use it. You will meet some fantastic people, I hope, on business advisory boards, and they would be mad not to hire you. So you want people who are networked. If part of that is about gaining resource and access, it may well be a nice secondary benefit for you that's what plays out of it. Or you can also consider, I think, a different approach, which is to think about the role that you want the board to play. And so what you're going to go looking for is, look, I think we can find most of the resources. And this, if you've done management theory, you can go back to De Bono's 6 hats or something else here. You need someone who's going to play the role of the challenger. Who's going to keep you all honest and accountable and, is this really right? You want someone who's going to play the role of the visionary. Is this really as good as it could be? Could we do more? What if we parlayed this up? What if we joined, somebody who's thinking big all the time? You might want somebody who's just there as the sounding board. Okay, I need to be able to go to you when I'm not sure, where it's a safe place to kind of go, I'm lost. I don't know if we're going in the right path, and it's not a boss or a manager, it's a sounding board. Somebody who might play the role just of oversight and governance. It's everything's the machine running the way we want it to run, okay? And somebody who's experienced in business in knowing that and being able to say, look, that's a bit off the rails, your sequencing isn't right. So I think you can think about business. Neither of those is right or wrong. It's about you knowing the capabilities of your group, you knowing the need for your project, and saying, well, what style of board do we want? That will critically determine who you go looking for. Okay, because you'll all know people who are really good at challenging. You'll know people who are great at the visionary stuff, and normally they're the people who are horrible at oversight and governance. Okay? And that's just great. So get one of each, and you balance it off. That's how you blend out a board. A board is not 6 people the same. It's that ability to bring together their unique skills and abilities. And the key thing here is you have the bit that binds them together. You have a great goal, a great project that you're trying to achieve. You don't have to worry about how you're going to bind them together. You've got something that they're going to want to attach to and bring their skills and abilities together to help you in that. So I think don't worry too much about, getting exactly the right answer to the question of who should be on a business advisory board. Go back to understand, for us, what's the purpose of our board? And then do I want people who will play certain roles? And then be really clear with them. This is the second part of this, and this is almost the kicker in the back end of this bit about who should be on your board. You will get the right people on your board if you ask them the right way. Okay, I have 4 children, one of whom is in 2nd year of university. Gorgeous Holly. My second beautiful daughter of 3 is doing her last year of school this year. And I know the difference when they come to ask me for something that they're not too sure about. It might be they need some money to go out on the weekend, or, Dad, I've scraped the side of the car and I need some money to this concrete pole left out. And the way they come and ask you, and you might recognise this or you might not, is really quite roundabout, unconfident. Dad, maybe, well, last week, could I have $50? And as a gracious father, of course, you say yes, no. If you approach a business advisory board member in that way, I'm guessing that you might get a similar answer that my daughters get in that sense, okay? You're not giving them every chance to help you, and you're not giving yourself the best chance of achieving the best outcomes for your project. Again, you are doing exciting work. You have great purpose. When I see you present, you are full of clarity and purpose and vision and energy and excitement. So when you go to ask somebody to be on your business advisory board, all I would suggest is don't do the sort of Enactust guide to how to present. I think that's very, very good for the competitions. It's not a great way to ask somebody to be on a business advisory board. But tap into, again, 98% of people you meet want to do something good, okay? They just need to find a way to connect to it. we have this great project. It's doing these, people are interested in outcomes. We are going to change this little part of the world. We've got a great team of people. We're marching to this deadline. We think you could help us here. And what it means is I need you to tell them what you need. Commit to something. I need you to come to 3 meetings across 3 months and give us 2 hours of your time. And I might ask you to also give me a couple of your contacts that we could ask some stuff for. That's something really concrete that I or one of my people can say yes or no to. Okay? They're like you. They're busy people. They'll gladly make trade-offs. Okay? And it's no different than you do in your life. Somebody rings up and says, do you want to go out Saturday night? Where? Oh, I don't know. Well, we'll meet sometime. Somebody else rings up and say, hey, there's a concert on. We're going to meet at 7. We'll have dinner at 6. Which one's... I'm going to go to the concert, assuming I've got enough cash. The other one's a bit vague and amorphous. You come to me with a vague, amorphous, uncertain proposal about we'd like you to be on a business advisory. What's a business advisory? Oh, it's kind of a group that gets together. We talk about our project. Sorry, you haven't got me. And that's not how you present when you talk about your projects. You're doing great things. We've got a great purpose. We have a need. I think you could help me meet that need. We're getting a group of people together. And this is what I need from you. If you come to me like that, I'll guarantee you your success rate on getting participants for business advisory boards goes through the roof. It's the clarity of knowing what you're doing, the energy and excitement that you have for it. Share it with them. Okay, if it's, oh yeah, it's a group that gets together and we try and... I've got 600 other things I could be doing. And whether it's me, again, I want some of my best and brightest people on this. They've got 600 other things they could be doing. What you're doing is remarkable. It's really easy to choose that over some of the other 598 I'm doing. But I can't do that if you don't give me that sense of what it is, why it's exciting, and what you want from me. So I really think, again, I know of a few people who've come via different channels to people in my business. I've got a couple of folk on business advisory boards. I would gladly give you more. But often it's really hard to say yes, because I don't actually know what we're being asked for. So as well as that key bit here about who should I have on my business advisory board, and again, think about what you need. Is it skills? Is it roles? Is it functions? Give them a clear purpose. But I think maybe the biggest difference here is just ask them with that same energy and passion and clarity that you present with. I need to know what you need. I need a marketing resource. Sorry, I can't react to that. Why? What are you trying to do? How long? What do you need them for? Oh, okay. 2 hours a week, 4 weeks. You want them to work on an overseas aid project. That's great. I'd love to do that. Okay, just that next couple of layers of clarity and purpose is really going to make a difference in terms of getting the right people onto your business advisory boards. And look, you are, again, the key commitment I know from all of our partners is I have remarkable people that work for me. That's part of me doing my job. Recruit the right people, develop the hell out of them, give them every chance they can to do their best and make sure they can play well with others, work well with others to get more done. Okay? That's who you people are. So I just want to give you my best people. The people who we want to put on business advisory boards are my high potentials, or they're my wise old owls. They're the people who've been it, done it, seen it, have great networks. Or they're the people who have great energy, and I want to give them experiences that I can't give them at work. Okay? You don't, when somebody's a single contributor in a workplace, they don't get too many chances to manage by influence. When I've got somebody who could do my role in the future, but they don't yet have a social responsibility, because their life experience just hasn't got them to that point yet, you cannot and should not be a CEO without a social responsibility. You are a great channel for me to give somebody that development experience that I cannot give them any other way. Somebody to be able to manage by influence, to skills, to broaden their perspective, to sometimes, quite frankly, just get re-energised by hanging around with people like you. Okay, that's why I want to put people, that's selfishly what's in it for me. Okay, I'm running a business to make a quid. Okay, and I don't, we do it because it's a human-to-human business and we want to make a difference. But I'll be totally honest, like most corporates, there's something in it for us as well. And that is, you're giving me an opportunity to teach people skills that I can't give them, that they're going to bring back into my workplace, and they're going to make my business better. So that's where I'm getting my payback. I'm not going to get it today or tomorrow. But if I've got a future CEO who doesn't have a corporate social conscience, and a business advisory board in Adelaide gives them that, you will have made an impact on more people and more communities around the world than you could ever have imagined, because they'll get into that CEO role, they'll start divvying out a couple of $1 million a year to causes, they'll start getting involved in other boards and changing and making a difference. So I've jumped ahead to why would people get involved in a business advisory board from corporates? That's why, because you're teaching them. Okay, it's a two-way street. It's not about wise owls descending and telling you all how to do things. If you get into a business advisory board meeting and sit back and wait, I'd argue if the board's doing its job, you should be waiting a long time to hear anything. Your management, you're running it, you're running the project. Now, what do you want to give to them? What do you want to ask them about? Where do you need help? Not tell us how to do it. And that's exactly how boards work and management works in company. It's exactly how we use our advisory boards. It's exactly how we run some teams and functions inside our business. And we do it that way because it works, because it actually generates the best outcome. And I'm going to come back. You're all out there with projects and goals trying to do something good. This is just a way to help you do it faster, better, hopefully bigger. Have some fun along the way, learn some skills, and also, quite frankly, teach my people some things that they need. Now, I'm conscious of time. I had a very bad analogy about how this was more like RSVP or eHarmony rather than Tinder in terms of how you might approach it, but we're going to leave that analogy out for a number of reasons. We'll put it down to time. So look, what does good look like? It's the sense of being sure about who you want, being honest and authentic, being clear about who you are and what you need rather than, oh, they look nice, and flick to the left or right. So we just see a troubled look there. It was more about specify what you need and what you want, and then you've got a better chance of getting a good match. So there you go. I've got the short version of the analogy out anyway. Just finally, look, what does good look like in a business advisory board? And look, fundamentally, I think I've answered it. If you have a clear purpose, if you know exactly what you want the board to do, if you define the role of the board, if you've asked yourself the tough questions about what do I really need from them, and then you invite them with clarity and with a clear sense of the role that you want, and you've got the right people on there, well, that's what good looks like. You'll get on and do your projects. You'll have access to the skills and abilities that you need, to the networks and the resources that you want. You'll have sounding boards, advice, encouragement. You'll have people who genuinely want to get something good done like you. They're good people to hang around. You'd be surprised at how many of them are out there in business. And I think that helps build that sense of belief and that sense of outcome orientation. And I think fundamentally, that's what good looks like. I'm going to come back also just finally to the conduct of the boards, and then we'll go to the questions. Within what does good look like, it also comes to running the board. And I'm going to come back to the Enactust Code of Conduct here. And it's pretty simple. It just says, basically, treat everybody with respect. And in engaging with your business advisory board partners, not because they're important and not because they're busy, they're no different than you or I, but they've made a choice to get involved, and you need to respect that choice. And they have made trade-offs. It could be time with their kids. It could be, like me, late-night phone calls with London or the US. It could be whatever they have to do in the balance of their lives. So when you say a meeting is going to happen, and it's in their calendar, it needs to happen. And it needs to happen on the day and at the time you said, because they will have given something up to be there, just like you did. But it's not adjustable. It's not flickable to kind of do that. So the whole basic ethos of respect is, if you're having a meeting, have a meeting. If it starts on time, it starts on time, and it finishes on time. Because like me, they'll be getting back tonight. I get off the plane at 9:10. I have a call with London at 9:30 while I'm in a car, and hopefully I'll be home at 10. And that's okay. That's how you juggle your life. But you can't say the meeting's going to finish at 9 and let it run till 10. There'll be something else on for somebody else. You have a clear agenda. You have purposeful discussions, not, hey, what happened last week? There's a rhythm and a discipline to just going, we're here to get something good done. Now, we can have the social event afterwards, which would be lovely, but just honour the time. If you can, give them pre-reading. Let them know what you want them to do this week. So in coming to the meeting, we're really struggling to get connections to a civil engineering company, a footwear company, and I need somebody who might be able to help with a logo. They'll probably come to the meeting with answers. Okay, if you turn up in the meeting and say, here's our problem, okay, they'll go away and do it, but it's all about speed and getting yourself to an outcome. So I think if you just go back to that fundamental premise of respect, For most business people, respect looks like on time, it's boring. Be on time, agendas, pre-work, purposeful discussions, and then at the end, sit and have a chat about whatever you might want to. But I think, so if you think about what does good look like, have a clear purpose, get them working the right way, get the right people, and then just do those really boring, mundane basics well, and they will feel respected. And when you know what it's like, when somebody feels respected, you get the best out of them. You have trust, you have an open space to be able to do your best rather than sitting there thinking, I'm running late, this isn't good. You want their head in the room, you want their heart in the room, and you're giving them a great opportunity to make a difference. And I think that's what good looks like in the running of a business advisory board and a team in getting that last element right. Now, the last piece was to talk about why somebody from my business would want to be on your team, and I think I covered that off earlier. And I'm conscious of our recording time here. So look, I do want to wrap it just, I guess, by saying, look, business is this kind of human-to-human thing, no matter whatever other label you put on it. And that's a great reason to get involved with business advisory boards, because it's your chance to see that in a business context, to carry that into your career and into your jobs. And look, it's not going to be perfect. Like everything inside my business, it's messy. It goes wrong from time to time. We don't run perfect meetings. We don't always stick to time. We don't always do pre-work. We don't always get the best outcome that we could. But you're committed to trying it, and you're committed to continually learning. So if you've had a bad experience with a business advisory board, that's not a reason to not try again. Okay, if you've had a great experience, well, you want to replicate it and you want to make something more. And if you've had no experience with a business advisory board, hopefully there's something in this about getting them to help you achieve what you want to get done. That's ultimately managing by influence, and that's how every single job works these days, including mine. So you'll be doing a lot of good for your community, but equally for you. So I think that's a reason to get involved. I'm going to wrap my diatribe here for now. I really hope that when we finish the formal questions, you can come back and give me some feedback and some questions off that. But we have some questions, and I think the first one is...
Well, let me thank you first, Philip, for
No trouble.
for this presentation. Thanks very much indeed.